Hi, this is Anna Imagination. We are on the abuser's box. So in this particular diagram, we were talking about the New York conversation current and the abuser's box. So now we're going to hone in on that abuser's box, and we are going to really open this thing up, get right into it, and dissect what is going on inside the abuser's box. So when I was originally going through this in my previous videos, I was explaining how there's that New York City, New York State conversation current. And either you're, and I'm going to say this, the type person is type A. I don't want to say type. Let's say example A. So you have example A is the people who are inside the current. And then you have example B and example C. Example B and example C are the two people inside the abuser's box. And then you have example D. Example D are the people who escaped the abuser's box, and they are trying to become a person, example A, but they don't know how. So you have example A's. Example A's can be people who used to be B's, C's, or D's, people who are C's or D's. And then there are people who were D's, they became A's. D's are the people who were C's. And yeah, so we're going to say D's were former C's. This is what it looks like. Former C's. And basically, example C people are the abused. These are the people who were not allowed to talk. And example B are the abusers. Okay. So I'm going to call abusers the possessed. That's right. We're going to call them the possessed. And we're going to call the abused the contaminated. Well, no, it's actually, yeah, we're just going to call them the abused. And there you have it. So there you have it. Now, former D or D's are former C's, abused. And then example A is both. They were either born here or they are former D's, former D. So there you have it. This is how people are dispersed. You are either living inside the abuser's box as a B or a C. You've escaped and now you're a D. And or you are example A, and that means you are either born in the conversation current or former D. The concept of interruption is literally birthed from, it's an abuser word. It is a possession word. So now we're going to hop, skip, and a jump and look into the abuser's box. When you look at the abuser's box, you have two kinds of people. You have abusers and you have victims. Now, just to clarify, victim means somebody who suffers. That's it. A victim means someone who suffers. So I really want to take time and just sit on that definition, because when you look it up, a victim is just someone who suffers. If you suffer, you are a victim. You are suffering. So either you're suffering or you're not, bottom line. Now, technically, actually, abusers are people who are suffering. So the abuser is also the victim. Really makes you think, doesn't it? So the abuser and the victim actually become possessed. Now, possessed means their fear has taken hold of them. That's it. And they seek to possess other things. They seek to possess something else. What they seek to possess, are you ready? Love, money, haha, things, power, control, people. That's it. That's all we got. Love, money, things, power, control, people. Those are your options. So when, oh, wait, one more. Knowledge. Any one of these things leads you to possession. If you seek to possess, and we're going to clarify this, if you seek to possess, to relieve worry or concern or fear, then you have possession. Then you are possessed. There you go. There it is. Bottom line. Now, control is the one I really want to focus on here. In the wonderful world of communication, what they are seeking is control and power. And the reason why is because words are filled with power. Because every word you say is a vessel for energy. And every word you say is literally filled with an energy that fuels, takes action, causes work to be done. It produces other things. It creates, it destroys. We're talking a lot of power here. All contained inside words. Because when you put enough words together, you get ideas. And ideas are the most powerful things there are. When you start getting ideas, the abuser who is possessed, seeking to take hold of power and control, is threatened. So, to ensure that this happens or doesn't happen, to prevent it, to preserve their possession of power control, they forbid you from talking. That includes interruption. So, interruption is actually a power play that people accuse you of doing when you want to talk, contribute, say something, and they want to make sure that you know your place. So this is what this is actually happening. So you have this. Now, this is me just trying to center this beautiful line equally over this gorgeous diagram. So this is what's really going on. When you are in abuse, I want a very specific shape. So just give me a minute while I set the scene. This is our person. And our person is also going to be over here. Now, this is what we refer to as equal footing. Equal footing actually means equal in power. That is what that actually means. And people who have possession are well aware of this. So we're going to go ahead and do another diagram over here while we emphasize this, because this is what equal power looks like. And then you've got people over here, and things are very, very different. Now, what I want to do is this. So just give me a minute. This is what happens. That is so not what I wanted to do, but we're going to go ahead and work with it. So this is what happens when you have an imbalance of power. This is what we refer to. Actually, I'm going to delete that completely because that's now inaccurate. This is what we call the advantage or the upper hand. I love this diagram. This is like one of my favorite. So this is the upper hand and or the advantage. And then we have the disadvantage. Now, in a conversation with equal footing, there is no such thing as interruption because you're equal. Haven't you ever noticed that adults can't interrupt other adults because they're equal footing? The only people who can interrupt are children. Have you ever noticed? No one ever tells another adult, don't interrupt. No one. No one ever says that. No one ever says that to another adult because that does not exist on equal footing. The only place where interruption exists is in children. When an adult and a possessed adult wants to maintain their upper hand. You're less than me. How dare you interrupt me? How dare you talk to the queen? Remember your place, peasant. And that's what we're talking about here. That's what's happened. So a lot of us are raised in this atmosphere. And then there's people who are punished or disciplined or abused for interruption. But interruption only exists in this atmosphere. So, you know what I love about New York is there are so many people that we've just learned how to people here. We know how to people because there are so many fucking people here. You got to learn how to people. And if you don't know how to people, those are where the wallflowers stand, is on the outside going, I don't know how to people. So this is how you people. This is how you go from being a wallflower to getting in the game. In the game. And this is it. It's getting in the game. Getting in the game. So after the abuser's box, we're going to talk about getting in the game. because this is really it. And if you've ever been abused, there's like a shadow of abuse, and I'm going to call it the shadow of possession. The shadow of possession. The shadow of possession is as toxic as possession. It becomes possession. So the shadow of possession is possession that's been contaminated in you. And that's what happens when you are in this kind of a situation, especially in your nurturing years. So you get nurtured with possession. And as a result, possession takes hold. Now, what I haven't told you yet is that possession, this is going to make so much sense. Possession is the opposite of true love. That's it. Either you have true love or you have possession. Either you were born in love or you are born in possession. Most of us were born in possession. And as a result, we are born under the hierarchy. The hierarchy is 100% possession. All of the hierarchy is nothing but possession. So when you live in, and we're gonna call this example A. I will get this spelled right. Example A. When you live in example A, this is what you experience with equal footing. But if you were raised in example B, now this is where it's going to be a problem. Now, we have two people in example A and in example B. In example A, you're going to have two people who turn out to be A's because they were born in love. This is what love, freedom actually means. Love and freedom are the same thing. Now, when you step over into the world of unequal footing, where there's upper hands, disadvantages, making sure that what really is going on is the person over here has more power than the person over here, less power. We call this a power appraisal. Power appraisal is amazing once you understand how it works. And we're going to talk in a moment more about power appraisal, but I want you to just kind of sit it here for a minute. So when you have more power, that person has the advantage. And when you have less power, that person is at a disadvantage. To ensure, preserve, and we're going to write this down, the preservation of power and control is possession. It is the driving factor. Now, in order to preserve the power and control, you have to maintain it. And in order to do that, you use words like don't interrupt to preserve the power and control so you stay in charge. Now, when you go on to grow up and you become an adult, this is person C. Remember in our previous example. And this is person B. Now, here's what you need to understand is growing up in this kind of an environment is going to either keep you a C or turn you into a B. Bottom line, you can be both. You will walk away either being C, B, or BC. B, C, or BC. You very much. And if you escape, you become person D. There are people who escape this. If you escape it, you become a person D. And that's where wallflowers are. That's where introverts are. Now they're going, oh, I'm no longer in this abusive situation, but their mindset is. Now they're looking at example A, equal footing, conversation happening. And there's like a whole thing happening here. This is what you don't know. You can feel it, but you don't know it. This is what we call the human connection. This is what's going on. So there is a connection happening here between person A and person B. And this connection, that is the current, that connection is absolutely going on between persons A and B. They're connected. And person D is looking at that pining going, I want it. How do I get it? And this is how you get it. We're going to break down and we're going to show you how to get it. We're going to get you in the game. So here's how it is when you grow up in, and you've got to be honest about this, you know it. You've already gone it. I'm showing you this and you've already gone, oh yeah, I was totally a C. Oh yeah, I may be a BC. Oh yeah, I was a B. Like absolutely. And then the Bs aren't even watching this. The Bs are like, well, maybe the Bs are watching it. Some Bs might be watching it. Some Bs might be watching it going, oh, I'm totally a C, when in fact, they're really a B. And what it comes down to is fear, just fear fear. We're going to go back over to this example. It is all about that. Remember, if you seek to possess, to relieve worry or concern or fear, you're a B. If you seek to possess, to relieve, you're a B. So, because a C will not. Subs, if you are at all into BDSM, this is where the sub is. 100%, this is where the sub is. If you are not a sub, if you are not a doormat, that's, 100%. If you are helping others, oh my God, yes. If you are trying to protect others, this is it. If you are gorging or indulging yourself on others or anything, even education, if you are seeking something to relieve, you've got possession. Because the people over here don't do that. They never do that. They don't even think about doing that. And people over here have no fucking clue that this is even an option. They are oblivious to this world. These people know about these people. These people know about these people, but these people have no clue about these people. None. None. If these people knew about these people, oh my God, they would be there. These people dream about these people. This person used to be that person. And when you are a C, you either become a B or a D. You either become you could also stay a C. So a C person becomes a B, a D, or they stay a C. And then there's this option. This is what everyone wants. This is what everyone is seeking. Everyone is looking to get to A. Like, how do I get to A? It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you possession. You got to give it up. But in order to do that, you've got to give up your upper hand. Now, there's people who are going, no. Well, then you're going to stay at a B. The people who are at a C have wandered over here to D, and they don't know how to pick themselves up. This is where you got to struggle with self-value. Today is Self-Appreciation Day. Today is May 13th, Self-Appreciation Day. Ironically, Self-Appreciation Day is the ability to take up yourself and move yourself over a year to become these people. That's what Self-Appreciation Day is all about. Fantastic. So, when you understand where in this power dynamic you are, you know exactly how to play the game. You are in this power dynamic no matter what. You don't get to choose. You are in the power dynamic. If you know how to play it properly, you've learned how to get on equal footing. If you don't know how to play it, you're going to be over here. These are the people who don't know how to play it. Bottom line, there's a line drawn. We're going to draw the line. This is the Mason-Dixon line. I'm going to draw the line. So I want a thicker line. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go all out. I'm going to be this. So we're going to do that. I want okay, so there you go. That's the line. And this is how this works. These are the people who don't know how to play the dynamics game. Bottom line, these are the people who don't know how to play the dynamics game. They know and have mastered the dynamics game. That's the difference. So when you are we don't do that. 1 minute, I got to change my word. When you are reconstructing your mindset, one of the things that you are working on doing is expanding your knowledge about example A and learning all the components that get you to example A. That's what I do. This is literally like what I do. I love my work. So you have people who know how to play the dynamics game, example A people, and people who don't. And the reason why they don't know how to play the dynamics game, if they knew how to play it, they wouldn't feel threatened. So we're going to teach you how to play the dynamics game so that you can get to A, so that you can become people A. So here's how it's done. I want my little examples. I'm going to do it this way, and then it'll be easier if I just delete what I don't know. Oh no! Well, that's production here. Let's try this again. Oh, this is what I want. All right, so here are our examples. So I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup here to break this down more and more. So what is going on here when you are looking at all the different components that make this up? What is really going on here is 100%, it's fear, it's possession. It's you have this gorgeous thing inside of you that is your power. Bottom line, it's your power. And if you, just a minute, I'm having some graphic issues. For some reason, I cannot yet do graphs while talking at the same time. Okay, so this is your power. Now, power is exchanged between both people. Okay. Oh, yes, we need to talk about the power appraisal. That's what this is all about. Power appraisal. I know. I'm like, there's something going on here. So the difference, but what's going on with example A that's different than example B and C is the power appraisal. In example A, the power is equal. That's how you get it. In the example B, the power is uneven. And that's what's going on. That is it. The power is uneven or the power is equal. Now, power is 100% determined by a power appraisal. That's what I was trying to explain. So we're going to dive into power appraisal. That's what I wanted to say. I couldn't get the segue in. Power appraisal. So here's how this works. Power appraisal. No! I want my little ball. Actually, I want this right here. Okay, give me a minute here. I got to get this set up. All right, so when you have power appraisal, what did I just do? There we go. When you have power appraisal, you have this thing. Now, power is determined by a whole lot of different attributes. And we are going to cover what those attributes are. Now, there are two types of assessment being done. The first assessment, and we're going to go ahead and break this down into this lovely little category here. Actually, I want a T-graph, so give me a minute. T-graph, boop. Okay, so here is our uneven T-graph that's going to drive me crazy until I get this even. So just give me a minute. Okay, there we go. Now, here's how this works. You have example A, and then you have example B. So the things that example A people use for power appraisal is not the same thing that people in example B use for power appraisal. So power appraisal there you go. We're going to show you what this looks like. So this little ball represents power. Okay, I'm going to give it yellow. We're going to turn it yellow, and it represents power. Okay, actually, that's really awesome. We're going to do it like that. Okay, that is what this looks like. That's really what's going on here. And the people who play the game in example A know this. So the kind of things that determines power appraisal, I'm going to power appraisal this, is different for people in example B versus example A. In example B, are you ready for this? I'm going to say this, and there's going to be a lot of people going, son of a bitch, and I'm going to go, I know, right? So here you go. These are the things that people in example B use to appraise a person's power. Height, gender, race, skin color, money, wealth, job, status. Are we disgusted yet? money, clothes, degrees. These are some examples of what people use in example B to determine power appraisal. In example A, two things are used: ethics and wisdom. And that's it. Nothing else. I'm going to be really specific here and say the sixth ethic. That is it. Actually, if I really want to be honest, love is the ethics. Possession is the absence of love. That's it. And the ethics compose love. That's it. So this is what's going on when you have equal footing. This is 100% what's going on with equal footing. I'm going to break this down further for you. But when power appraisal occurs, what you are really doing is you are looking at all of these. And people born in possession only can see all of these. Did I mention age? Age needs to be on here. This is the problem. All of these is what these people is what these people are doing. They are using this as a power appraisal. It's disgusting. It absolutely is disgusting. People who are in this group, disgust means a violation of one's ethics. This over here, example A, are the people who are using love. Did I mention love is there? Freedom and wisdom for their power appraisal. And this is the difference. So now you've got this person over here, who's person D, and they are trying to get themselves into example A, and they don't know how to. So what I want to do now is show you what's really going behind the scenes in this example with our lovely little ball of power here, okay? This is the ball of power. Now, when you do an assessment like this, basically what's going on is this person, how do I move it so it's behind the head? Like, no, I want it behind the person's head. I'm not saying it, so we're just going to put it down here. So this person basically, this is the situation. And yeah, you're going to look at this and go, well, that's not fair. No, it's not fair. It's not fair at all. This is what abuse is. It is when you have one person with all the power and this person with no power. So if you have people who are down here with you, did you hear what I just said? Down here with you. That's how we talk. That's how they talk. That's the language of possession. That's the possession language. Now this person has all the power, so they're way up here while everyone else is down here. Welcome to the hierarchy. Yes, all of this is 100% how all of this works. This is literally how conversation, this is what's going on with conversation. So now, this person is the one who escaped with their power. And they're trying to figure out how to get over here into this scenario. So I want to show you what's really going on in that scenario. And what's really going on is this. That's what you don't see. So I'm going to show you in a minute how they come to that. So I want to show you here how this person over here, person B, in example B, has 3 sources of power. Person C's, both of them, have none. Person D has theirs, but they don't know how to use it to get into example A. Now, example A, if you've noticed, only one of these two peoples has the power, but they're on equal footing. So now I'm going to show you what's really going on in this situation with power appraisal. Okay, let me see here. La, da, 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 da. What is going on? Let me just, okay, I see what's going on. This is where my hiccup happened. All right, now we're ready for this. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to move some people around here. So this is what's going on. So person D has the goal of wanting to become a person A. So we're going to take these two people over here and we are going to replicate their situation over here. Now, this is what happened. Once upon a time, this used to be person D. And this, we're going to call them person A. Okay? And person D and person A wanted to connect. This is the story of how person A wanted to connect with person D. However, person D saw that between the two of them, person A had more power. And person D did not know how to converse with person B. Actually, let's just do this. So this is wisdom, and this is the ethics. So when person D wanted to connect with person A, they didn't know how to connect, but person A knew how to connect. So person A did this. If person A had stood over here with person D, what would have happened is this lovely little thing would have done this. Now, we've seen this before. We saw this with unequal footing. This is why people who want power seek power. This is it right here, people. Bottom line, this is what happens. So because people who know how to play the game know how this works, this is what happens. Person A does something called a peace offering. When person A gives a peace offering, actually, I was doing it right. I knew I was doing it right and I corrected it. There you go. So this is actually what's going on. Person D wants to connect with person A. If they try to stand on equal ground, they won't. Somebody will always be at the advantage. Person A knows this. So person A gives them a peace offering. The peace offering is equal to power. So now person A can stand over here and person D can stand over here. And now you have equal footing. But in order to pull this off, that needed to happen. You needed to give a peace offering. This is why we give peace offerings to people. This is why we gift. This is all that we're doing when we gift. When we gift, instantly, there is a connection that is made, that is formed. Let me change my thing here back to this. And when that connection occurs, it is done 100% out of this exchange of peace offering. This is why when you go to someone's house, you bring them a gift. This is why during birthday parties, you do gift exchanges. What you are really doing is starting the process of human connection. That's really what you're doing. But we're so focused on the gift, possession, that we are completely ignorant of or naive to this transaction that's taking place. It's not about the gift. It's about the connection. If you think about it, a birthday or Christmas is actually a ritual where we're all making effort to connect with each and every person. On a birthday, what we're really doing is taking turns connecting with a human being. That's really what's being gifted, is human connection. But because we're not aware of power exchange, equal footing, power appraisal, or human connection, we get a gift and we go, okay, great, I got a gift. And there's no human connection with it. None at all. I received birthday gifts this last week, and they came without any human connection. And I know this. The gifts arrived, and I went, well, I have possessions now, but they do not have any human connection. They came from somebody with narcissism. Narcissists are people who are so terrified of human connection that they will give without vulnerability. So there's no connection being made. You're just getting a gift. The purpose of a gift is to establish equal footing, to put yourself in a vulnerable position because you are giving up a piece of your own power. That way you can connect with somebody. When you approach somebody, you have the upper hand automatically. When you approach, when you initiate, you are at the advantage because you are initiating. I'm going to say this so many times before I'm just going to say it a lot in my life, is that every time you initiate, you are charging at somebody with your power. Now, people who are ethical can feel this. They know it. So the wallflowers, because, and I want you to really go back to this for a minute. The people who grew up, who were raised in the abuse box, who grew up under this kind of a regime, it's a regime. These people who grew up here know that initiation equals charging with power. So we're going to say this. Initiation equals to charge at someone with power. Now, the immediate response of the receiver, because person C's have been raised in it, are going to go, holy shit, I'm being charged at with power. And their defense is going to go up. They're going to go to arms, which is why we say, I come in peace. I say to people, I come in the name of love and peace. And then I give them something. This is why. And then I say to them, well, I say a lot of things to them. I literally give them a very brief explanation of, I know this is really not something you're used to, probably. But I am so consciously aware of what's going on in the background of this that I make an effort to consciously give people a peace offering. And I go back to like King Arthur days with, I come in the name of love with peace. Here is my gift, my peace offering. I seek to connect with you, but I am a stranger and I know that. So I am giving myself my power to you and making myself vulnerable so that you are at the advantage, and it is an honor and a privilege to be at your advantage. I literally introduce myself like this to people. And I then give them my gifts. This is why. And when you have somebody who is fresh out of abuse, they are hyper aware of this imbalance. So now these people have learned a very hard lesson about what imbalance of power looks like, and that when you initiate, you are charging at someone with power. So then how do you get here when you've been exposed to an abuse of power all your life? And the answer is, you got to make a peace offering with power in exchange. And you have to be transparent about what it is you're doing. And in order to do that, we use the words, excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear. May I interject? I don't like to say interrupt. And then if they decline your initiation, it's okay. It's okay. And this is really where initiation begins. It's getting in the game, which is what we're going to talk about next. There is, it's going to be your abuse, the possession you've been raised in versus something completely different. And it truly is. I will say again that the people on this side of the Mason-Dixon line, they do not know about this game. These people do not know about the game. If they did, they would play it differently. Excuse me. So once you understand the game, and this is, by the way, what these people know. These people know it. Now, these people might know it instinctively or intuitively, but they have figured it out, which is why they play the game. So everybody else doesn't play the game because they don't know how, they don't know what they're doing. Most people over here are doing it because they are just unaware. You do have another kind of a person who is aware, does know, and they are using it strategically, and this does not apply to them. We call those unethical people who cheat the game because it gives them a sadistic rush and they're dangerous. We literally refer to them as psychopaths. They are criminals. There's just, stay away from those people if you can. So once you understand how the dynamic game is played, this is truly it. And I'm going to say again, no one is exempt from this. The moment you go through power appraisal, whether it's I'm going to appraise somebody using ethics, love, and wisdom versus possession, you're playing the game. Because the very first thing you have to establish, now this might make more sense to you why this person has this power behind their head, is now what you've started to establish. Okay, that looks like hair. Let's raise that so it's no longer hair. There we go. My daughter just giggled at me for this. There we go. So what you are really doing is you're assessing which of the two of us knows better. And that's really what love and wisdom is. It's assessing who knows better. Now, there's going to be somebody who always knows more than you, but it's really when it comes to the power, who is in charge. There's one other thing that's happening here. On the area of equal footing, there's one big thing that's going on. It's called consent to connect. And when you have equal footing, that is really what you're dealing with. These people, connection, it's called non-consensual connection. And that's what that is. 100%, it's non-consensual connection. Another word for that is rape. That's really what's going on. This is why we live in a rape culture. It's because this is what's going on. Whereas over here, you have consent to connect. When I say a power of choice, I mean it quite literally, because you have the power to choose. The people over here have been violated and they do not have the power to choose. This person has chosen for them. For them, chosen for them, that is possession talk. I can tell you right now, that is possession talk. Possession talk is choose for you. We don't say that in the other world. We don't say that at all. So that's language only used for them. Over here, we don't say that. We never would say chose for you. It's what we say is you chose to let them choose for you. And that's the difference. You choose to let someone choose for you. And you choose when that ends. And that's the other difference, is people who speak with the dynamics game, they think like this, they talk like this. That's their mindset, is that no one chooses for them. They know that they can control. They know this. They know it. Person D is in the process of trying to learn this. And that's really the difference. Person C's, they think, oh, they choose for me. Person B says, I choose for you. Person C's say, yep, that's right, I'm going to agree with you. Well, there you go. You're agreeing with them because you do have the choice. If a person D is the one going, I'm not agreeing to that, but they don't know what the next step is. Persons in example A know this, and they have chosen that other people choosing for them ends. This is what Atlas Shrugged, the book, was all about. Was I swear by my life and my love for it that I will never allow someone to live for me, and I will never live for another person. That is all that Atlas Shrugged was about, the book. And you see it right here with you choose for you. And it really comes down to power of choice, because when you choose, you get power. Now, this is a person who is choosing for these people. This is a person who's learned how to choose for themselves, but they don't know how to take it to the next level. They don't know how to engage with people while hanging on to their power because they lived in a situation where they never made choices with their power. Someone took their power. That is more possession talk. That is how they talk. That is not, yeah. Took your power. Yeah, that's possession talk. I'm just going to like a whole thing here of just this is possession talk. So when people are over here, they are still living under the shadow of possession. They're actually still part of it. And you're not going to get over here until you completely strip yourself of the possession. You have to be 100% possession free to be truly over here. I wouldn't say that. I would say it's a process. Once you have conscious awareness and you practice it, now you're in the game. But you got to practice it. So now we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about getting in the game, and we're going to take it to the next level. So thank you so much, and may the kindest of words always find you.